Hi. As I'm sure you are aware, it is July, and maybe for some of you like me, July is moving by really rapidly, which means August is almost upon us. And why that's particularly important or relevant to this channel, and perhaps to you if you're watching this, is that August 1st is the day that RPGaDay starts, and it runs through the entire month of August. If you've never heard of RPGaDay before, it's actually about to start its sixth year. RPGaDay is basically a celebration of role playing games, period. It's an opportunity for people to remember all the things that they love about gaming and then share little pieces of it throughout the 31 days of August. This might remind a fellow gamer of how awesome it is to play and maybe encourage them back into the hobby. It might be something that comes up in a random search for someone who's just getting into the hobby and shows them something cool or, again, provides encouragement. It might spark great conversation or debate. It might introduce you to a new game or a new artist, a new writer, a cool new set of dice or cards or whatever. Who knows what it might do? But the idea is that we remember why it is that we like role playing games and we take the time not to focus on ourselves and our own games, but to share those emotions, those feelings, those ideas, those experiences, those moments of nostalgia or whatever it is. Share them and tag them. But as I mentioned earlier, this is the sixth time that we're doing this, and normally RPGaDay has focused on us preparing a question for you and you working on answering them. And sometimes that's not always easy. Role-playing games are far bigger now than they were when they began. There are different types, there's different traditions, different outlooks, and depending on where along the line of history that you've joined in to this very cool hobby, will determine even how you conceive of what role-playing games are. Which means an innocent question to one person might be a confusing question to another. So, in the idea of innovation, creativity, in the idea of reinventing and reinvigorating and re-inspiring ourselves, in the hope of reaching more people in a more positive way, RPGaDay has kind of cast off the shape of the old and taken on, well, a new shape, if not a shape that's entirely new. See, RPGaDay is drawing on some of the older aspects of the hobby and some of the newer aspects of the hobby to put together its prompts. And I think it's easier to explain if we look at them. The core of the idea is inspired by role-playing games themselves, that of the simple flexibility and freedom to make our own decisions based on the information we get in play. We can do whatever it is that we imagine. And so our symbol of this and our celebration of this being our sixth year of RPGaDay is to use the symbol of a hex. And these hexes will be our metaphorical guide through the creative space that will be RPGaDay's month of August in 2019. You'll see that there are 31 one-word prompts, each one in its own hex. And if you like, you can simply follow through the numbers, one for each day of August, with the red hexes representing the weekend. The one-word prompts are intended to be inspirations for anything that you would like to share in a positive way about your experience as a role-playing gamer in any way that you would like to share that. It could be our traditional blog post or vlog posts or Twitter comment or post on Facebook or Facebook Live. Or it could be something else, something more representative of who you are as a gamer and the way that you express yourself creatively. It could be a poem. It could be a sketch or some more complicated form of image making. It could be audio, music. I suppose it could even be something like interpretive dance or drama, a scene acted out among friends. There are no limits. Be inspired, be creative, and share your enthusiasm for the hobby in some way that makes you feel good, demonstrates your creativity, and is something that you'd like to share. Each one of these one-word prompts can be taken however you want to take it. And if it's not working for you, you consider inverting it. If, for example, the prompt was obscure, and that's not sparking anything with you, you might invert it to make it common. And now suddenly you might have a bunch of ideas that make sense in the context of who you are as a gamer and the games that you're playing now or have played in the past. Who can say? The words are intended to be as open as possible. Now, of course, me being me, one of the contributions that I will make to RPGaDay is to provide a list of alternate words in case people get stuck. And you'll be able to find those on my written blog, which is castingshadowsblog.com. I mentioned earlier that if you like, you might want to follow the array of hexes 1, 2, 3, 4 as we move through one for every day of August, but that may not suit your fancy. You might want to have a little bit different type of fun with it, to gamify it in a certain way, and that's another bonus with the hexes. So, for example, you might use them in the very traditional sense of the hex as a navigation tool to govern direction of travel. The method of randomization is, of course, entirely up to you. Have fun with it, but as a suggestion or as an example, you could assign a number to each of the 6 hex faces and then do something like roll a number of d6s. For example, you could roll a d6, get a 2, and decide this is the direction I'm going to travel. You might roll it again, or maybe you've rolled 2 d6s and the second roll indicates how many hexes you will travel, and that's the prompt that you will do for that day. The idea is not to get too bound up or focused on what any individual prompt is, but to have fun being inspired and sharing. It has been a fun feature of past RPGaDay events to have everybody responding to the same prompts on the same day, but variety is the spice of life, and it's time for a change. So, follow your own guidance on this. Either go through in order 1 to 31, or mix it up. Just have fun doing it. Now, let's talk briefly about some practical matters. How does the sharing actually work? Well, the way for people to find your stuff in the fastest way is, of course, the hashtag RPGaDay 2019. That isolates it for this year, and it's already built into a lot of the social media platforms that many of us already use. The second part is to actually use the hashtag. Go outside of your normal comfort zone in social media. Follow it. Read entries or look at the responses produced by people you don't know. And if you think it's cool, share it. Put it in front of other people who also like talking about RPGs and people who don't, but who might like the form or format or style or tone or whatever it is of that particular response. We can't share if it's just among ourselves. And if things aren't being shared, it's us who's not sharing them. So, engage. Put your own positive experiences out there, then go out and find those from other people. Tell them what you think, how you were inspired or pleased or entertained or whatever by their response, and then share it with other people. This stuff is out there forever, and people continue to comment on RPGaDay posts years after the fact. So your post might not get immediate responses, it might not get engagement, but if you engage with others, if you make it possible for it to be found, it will be found. An additional proactive thing that you can do is to go to our Facebook page. It's easy to find. It's RPGaDay. And each day we'll be putting up a special post for that day's collection of links to prompts. So simply put yours in a comment. Likewise, you can leave a comment on my blog for my posts, or on the founder, Dave Chapman's Autocratics blog at Blogspot. There are ways to be seen. But I think it's important to say that in the spirit of the event, it's at least as important to go out and see as it is to try to be seen. And that's it. RPGaDay is an event by gamers, for gamers, to talk about role-playing games and share their positive experiences in that regard. I look forward to seeing what everybody's posting this year and the way in which they engage with the infographic. And so that's the last request. Please take the infographic and share it wherever you know role-playing games are talked about, and encourage people to participate. And remember, it's not important. It's not a competition. It's not about completing every single point. It's great if you can. It doesn't matter if you can't. It's supposed to be fun. So find the ones that inspire you, and on those days, answer them. Or find the whole thing inspiring and move through each day as an ongoing 31-day celebration. Whatever. August 2019, RPGaDay 2019, our 6th year. I look forward to seeing what you do.